Hello! We are the Brothers Geek. Welcome to our podcast. My name is Patrick Schmaltz with my two brothers, Christopher Schmaltz. Hello, Christopher.
Hello.
And Andrew Schmaltz. Hello, Andrew.
Hello to all
We're,
you people out there, and especially those of you watching on YouTube.
yes, hello, YouTubers. Hello.
You can see our faces.
You can see our
You can't see.
faces.
Chris has the supervillain filter on. You can't see his lair where
Yeah,
he is.
he's
You're
hiding.
not allowed to know.
He's
The
got
spider.
he's got all those top secret files that he can't show to the public.
You got the Mar-a-Lago files. Those
Oh,
missing.
are we call? I mean, I didn't even know what the fuck Mar-a-Lago was until all this bullshit started happening. So it's like this is like Watergate, right? The Mar-a-Lago files.
Dude, it is bigger than Watergate.
It's-
This is potentially treason.
Fuck
This is an
yeah.
ex-president, or potentially the president while he was president, committing treason.
Welcome to the
Selling-
Brothers Geek
selling secret.
Politics podcast.
Yeah.
Uh,
Potentially. Am I wrong, Christopher? Do you assess this with the same kind of, level that I do? This is potentially treason.
If the allegations are proven true,
Yes.
it rises to that level. Yes.
Yeah. This could be treason by an ex-president. I hate that motherfucker so much.
all right, calm down.
We make no secret about our politics on this podcast.
No, yeah, it's true. We're very
We bring
much.
we bring our whole selves to this podcast. I mean,
That's
we
right.
don't talk about Chris's job because we don't do that, but we bring our whole selves to this podcast.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
true.
we do.
That's true. So we are continuing our House of the Dragon Hot D coverage. This is episode 3. The episode is called "The Second of His Name," and this is the title is obviously referring to the boy Aegon Targaryen, which I want to credit Screen Crush for this. Screen Crush, a YouTuber that I watch, breaks down episodes of things. This is really fun to watch, by the way. That Jon Snow was Aegon the Sixth. So this is Aegon the Second. And so if you are keeping track, I'm definitely keeping track. I actually found myself Googling Targaryen family tree today to try to see and figure out what the hell is going on, because they are fast and loose with all these names. And I was trying to.
What's gonna be even better if they stick with how the book, like Fire and Blood, and how the characters are named in the book versus how they're gonna be. This is Aegon the Elder. Rhaenyra is gonna start having kids, and she's gonna name one of her kids Aegon too.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna get. Yeah.
So
The amount of Targaryens.
Spoilers
now.
for the third episode, by the way. If you didn't know, we're doing this. I hope that if you're listening by now, we're spoiling the episode. We're talking about everything. Speaking of Rhaenyra, like this is 2 years later.
Almost three. 3 years later.
Almost 3 years later, the little boy is celebrating his second birthday. You're right. So he's there. The main like moment of the episode is this king's hunt for the son's second name day, and they're hunting a stag, and there's all these overlapping houses, and we're introduced to a lot of new characters and different houses. We actually got to I actually found out the name of that other lord who's part of the council. The king's council is Lord Strong, and he has two sons that are pictured in this episode for a second. Actually, we're just getting in the weeds about houses and stuff, though. But one of them is the Clubfoot guy. So if you're wondering what that was all about, where he was like wanting to sit with the ladies, he like comes in and sits down, sits in a chair. That's one of Lord Strong's kids, and there's a lot of talk about There's a lot of talk about what's happening in the what are those islands called? The fingers, the
The
stone
stepstones.
stepstones.
Yeah.
The
So
eh,
Stepping.
Daemon and Corlys Valerion's war against the Crab Beater
yeah.
and and his allies from the three cities has been going on for a couple years now, and the war is not going well.
Hmm.
And the feeling among the soldiers who are fighting the war is that the reason it's not going well is because is because of Daemon. They are like he is not a capable, or they're fighting the war his way and they're
Hmm.
losing. And well, they figured out ways to like neutralize the use of the dragons. They hide in caves and they don't make open battle and things like that. Whereas if you
Right. They're
put
not
men
they're
on the
not as
field, the gal
useful. Right. They're not
yeah, they're
they're
not as
hiding
useful.
in the island caves and they're able to hold out and then
So Corlys
yeah.
and Daemon are fighting this war. It's not going well. They have essentially through like back channels have essentially said, we need the help of the Iron Throne. We need the help of the king. And Viserys is reluctant to give it for all the reasons that, he's reluctant to do anything. He's always reluctant to do
I
anything.
mean, he's kind of an interesting. Like they've gone in kind of an interesting direction. I really liked him in the first couple episodes, and I feel like this one it was sort of like he just wanted to have his like son's birthday, and he was so over it, right? He was like over everybody talking to him about it, over people wanting him to do something about it, over wanting some action, and he just wanted to like celebrate us his son and go on a hunt. And I thought that was kind of, and then it even came to the point where he gets drunk and he starts spouting off to his lords. And I didn't really understand. Maybe I have to rewatch it. What was the scene with him and like Alicent around the fire? Like, what was he talking about? He was talking about like how he was having visions.
He had a
Uh,
vision. Yeah, he had a vision, a dream of a son that was born to him, and he's tormented by all the stuff that he did in response and in furtherance of that dream by continuing to try to have children with his now deceased wife.
mm,
And it torments him because he was so driven by that dream that ultimately he sacrificed his wife in order to have that male child who died shortly thereafter. And so the whole point of that speech was about I he he's realizing that all those decisions that he made have caused all this anguish for him and for his daughter, not to the benefit of anyone.
mm-hmm,
Um, his wife is dead. And so questioning the dreaming and pursuing the dreaming is at the heart of that speech, saying, and I think it solidifies for him that I've made the right decision in naming her my heir and not changing immediately to Aegon II
Oh yeah,
as
you're bringing
new
up
heir.
something too. There's a lot of push in this episode that like there's a boy heir now from other lords. Like you're gonna name this guy your heir, right? That you're gonna name like it came up like three times, and by the end of it, he's saying, "I'm not changing. You're still my heir. Like I'm not naming him."
He says that to her.
He says that to her, right? He's also trying to marry her off, and she's like they're definitely going through some stuff. These two, the Rhaenyra and Viserys, like he's trying to marry her off. We get introduced to a Lannister, Jason Lannister, and we also had another Lannister too. I missed his name. I thought he said Tully at first, but
Thailand,
Tylan, thank you.
Thailand, Thailand.
Thailand, Tywin Lannister.
They're identical twins.
Yeah, probably played by the same actor. I would guess. And they.
Well, Viserys is taking the position of you're of age, you need to marry for the same reason that I had to marry, was that it makes our house stronger.
Right.
Like, you alone are vulnerable, but if you marry yourself to a strong lord, this is the justification he gives her at the end. He says if you marry yourself to a strong lord, he will support you
And start having kids.
and start having kids. Exactly.
Right.
It's like, solidify your claim to the throne, which I'm going to back up. I'm not naming a new heir, but when you marry, you start to have your own children, it only strengthens your position as the heir and as the future queen to do that.
And there's a bit of turmoil up until the end when he says the line that actually surprised her. And I will say that the acting in the show is amazing, because you can actually see the surprise in her face of you can marry who you want, pick somebody good, and that's kind of amazing to me, because these guys, I mean, lords and ladies in history, had to marry whoever their parents told them to, right? And it's sort of this is your duty as the royal family. This is very common throughout history. People marrying each other off for alliances. French and English kings marrying off their daughters, marrying to form alliances with other countries. Monarchies, yes. Yeah.
Any inherited monarchy.
Yes.
Throughout history, that was how you built.
Very common, very common throughout history. So it's kind of surprising that it's sort of marry whoever you want, pick somebody good, and marry who you want. I don't care. I just want you to be happy. He just wants her to be happy too. He even says that a couple of times. So
and he chose Alicent because he wanted her.
Right.
He was like, she will be a good wife to me. I like her.
He wants to be happy. Her. Yeah.
She comes from a powerful.
Andrew, how many generations to Baratheon from now?
How many generations from where we're at until Robert Baratheon?
Yes.
Maybe 10 or 15.
Wow, that's many. Okay.
It's 200 years later.
That's not 10 generations.
I think it's
probably 6.
It's there, because there's Aegon, I don't know
their family tree. I'll have to send you this picture that I found. The family tree is really hardcore. It's all over the damn place. And I mean, George R. R. Martin is a genius for this stuff.
Dude, they tell the story of the Blackfire rebellions where King Daemon the second or something, he had 40 illegitimate children. Mm-hmm. Some of them high bastards, where he had sex with whoever he wanted. Basically, he probably had it was probably a lot of rape,
oh, fuck.
Yeah, but he had high bastards where he would have sex with and have children with women of station. And then he had low bastards.
Anyone having sex with a king that he's not married to is probably by definition rape, dude.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So he had.
They're not in a consensual relationship.
You're right. They can't say no to the king.
They can't say no.
Yeah, you're right. But he legitimizes all of his bastards on his deathbed, and they form the House Blackfire, which becomes, there's a series of wars across 20 or 30 years of all of the Blackfire bastards trying to take the throne from the Targaryens. This is 100 years from where we're talking right now.
So I just sent you the picture I found that was pretty good of the Targaryen dynasty. I'm trying to find.
Yeah, I've seen this picture before.
Yeah, and it's pretty good. It's color and it's pretty.
So Jaehaerys, we're on the third generation. Jaehaerys was king for 50 years, 60 years. So
okay, yeah, Viserys, and then it's sort of in the middle there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Seven generations.
7 generations
until
until.
Baratheon.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. And they keep like marrying off other people, and this person marries and having sex. With
Spoilery. This picture is very spoilery. So
Yes.
so
Is it?
yes, dude. If you don't want to know sort of how things play out,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
look up the picture. Let the show sort of tell you how things play out. But this is a spoilery photo
Yeah.
of the time of the sort of the family tree. Yes.
So okay.
It's a good point. It's a good point. I'm sorry.
So there's a lot. I mean,
We should link to it. We should link to it in the show notes. But I caution anyone watching or listening.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't want to be spoiled.
Yes.
Don't click the link because it will tell you what happens.
See,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It'll tell you who wins
the
Targaryen Civil War.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Truth is, nobody wins the Targaryen.
Nobody wins, and that's part of what's being teed up.
Yeah.
Well, let me see if I.
Well, and so think something that I wanted to bring up, and I mean, you talked about the acting and how good everybody's been so far. Millie Alcock as young Rhaenyra continues to be awesome in her role. She has won me over onto the Council of the Blacks, which is what she'll be. You know, the conflict that eventually arises that leads to the Civil War. It's the Blacks and the Greens are the two that end up fighting against each other. You can tell. From that you can infer who we're talking about. Millie Alcock is so good as young Rhaenyra. There's gonna be a big time jump, and Emma Corwin, I think is her name. I may be getting that name wrong. And I'm sorry, she's not a her. They are not a her. They are non-binary. Will take over the role, and I expect they will be wonderful as well because Rhaenyra is such a great character.
It's like we only get like one more episode, I think, with her, and then we get the time jump. So
there's gonna be a 15 years or so time jump.
15 years, that big?
Yeah.
Wow.
10 or 15 years, I think.
I mean, so this is something that like Game of Thrones never did. It was very like linear like time.
I'd like this anger better.
Your right side is your best.
I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like Game of Thrones was like very in the moment. Not like we've talked about the flashbacks, but like this has been like 6-month jump in some cases, and then now our 2-year jump. This episode starts off with like a 3 years jump. So it's kind of fascinating that like in 3 years they're still fighting, I guess, like the crab feeder. Like this is basically the end of the crab feeder in this episode. Like the I've seen the joke. Did you post that, Andrew? Like with Daemon on one side and like
Bran Stark
on the other, and it says knows how to zigzag, doesn't know how to zigzag. Like,
yeah.
It's like
I mean, we're jumping ahead, but what did we think about that scene with Daemon and how he eventually wins the war? Basically, what do we think about that? I mean, as a piece of like action filmmaking, I thought it was great.
Yeah, oh yeah, for a piece of action, it was pretty good. I wish I would have been able. I mean, for the first time seeing that other dragon, I didn't get a good look at him. Is the dragon white?
The dragon is like a gray. His name is Sea Smoke.
Oh, I saw purple. It was purplish.
Maybe purplish, like in the wings or something.
He's got, but his name is Sea Smoke.
Sea Smoke.
Yep.
Yeah, like I would have loved like a showcase shot of what the dragon looked like.
He'll be back.
Okay, good, because I wanted to see more of that.
Rhaenyra Velaryon will play a very big role.
I like how they're slow rolling, introducing all the dragons too. It's sort of like they're just there, and like we don't even know that guy's a dragon rider too. It's like there's dragons everywhere, guys. Like there's a bunch.
He's the son of Corlys Velaryon and Rhaenys Targaryen, so he has old Valyrian blood, and he has dragon rider blood through his mother. So he's definitely got that, heredity to be able to be a dragon rider.
To answer your question, Andrew, however, that scene was ridiculous.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was
And
awesome.
not in a good way.
Oh, you
Because
don't like it?
no, because he, waves the white flag. They surround him, and the crab feeder army. They're the worst archers in the history of archery.
It's true. It's true.
Give me a break, dude.
He's not wearing a helmet.
He's not, and he violates our rule.
Not wearing a helmet.
Not wearing a helmet. Straight up.
I mean,
Corlys Velaryon and his sons were wearing helmets when they came to his rescue.
That scene is, in my opinion, awful.
Well,
Really?
also, there's a moment that I had where he took 3 arrows and he gets up and he goes and he kills the crab feeder.
And then he goes running off.
And we don't even get to see it. Like we don't get dude, you got 3 arrows in you, bro. Like how good of a fighter are you? And it's a sword arm. It's not like
Adrenaline can do a lot.
I guess so.
I appreciated that part of it because I appreciated the idea behind the decision making in that attack. You hopefully, here's what I understood with regard to that is that this is their opportunity to shame the king, because the king waits until the last minute, tells his brother he's sending help to save him, and Daemon comes up with this idea to do a final attack. This is the way to sort of draw him out, and then surprise, surprise, another dragon. But it's really person-on-person combat that ends the fight, and Daemon's whole thinking around that is that A, it solidifies his position, and B, highlights the ineptitude of the current king.
Yep.
So I'm okay with not showing the point of that whole scene is not about killing the crab feeder. The point of it is power dynamic. That's all it is.
Well,
go ahead, Andrew.
That's what Game of Thrones really does at its really, really good. It does that the best. These personal moments that lead to huge political implications in the power struggles of the show. Daemon being this, military commander and, famed warrior, and his brother being anything but, and how that will what kind of implications that will have going forward. The fact that, he's this dynamic, charming individual who gets people to follow him, and Viserys is kind of, boring, essentially.
This leads to my question for the both of you. Directly related to that. So I want to hear your opinion on this. Do you think Daemon has been sandbagging for 3 years?
Like he constructed this opportunity for himself?
He could have ended the fight in 6 months.
Wow.
But he has been sandbagging, waiting for the moment for his brother to do something specifically for this moment.
It fits with his whole... he does a lot of things to get his brother's attention. He the whole Mishigas on Dragonstone, the whole, looking for opportunities on the small council to have a place of authority. It absolutely could. He's like, it absolutely could be. He did not choose to fight the war. Until his brother was in a position to have him to rescue him.
The one
That's
hitch.
Wild, and I think you're absolutely right.
The one hitch in your theory, Christopher, is when the letter shows up at the War Council and he hands it to him and he reads it. He beats the messenger to death because he's pissed that his brother's going to show up. I think that he didn't anticipate that. I think that he's mad that his brother is coming to save him, and this is a desperate, like, we got to end this because I have to be the victor. Like, I don't, I think that that scene is
Or
telling
either
to
like
that.
either it's like I win this war or I'll be dead and I don't care.
I think that's what
Situation.
that was, is I don't want my brother to come save me. Like, I can't have my brother come save me. And screw that guy. Let's do this. And I'm gonna go no dragon, get them to come out. We have a big fight, and we sort this out. And
Well,
you know, their
it
back
just
pocket is they got another dragon rider. You
it
know,
further illustrates just how kind of complex and how the motivations within Daemon are kind of like always fighting each other. Like he wants the respect of his brother, but he wants to stand on his own 2 feet. He thinks you know, he's openly challenging to his brother's authority, but no one else can even speak a word against his brother in his presence. Things like that, all the complexity
well,
that
this
involves that.
like they're still Targaryens. That's the fascinating part of this thing is, like, they still have respect for each other. Like in the second episode, like Rhaenyra shows up to talk to her uncle, and she was the one who got the egg back. Like they talk to each other like differently than they talk to everybody else, and they're like a cut above, and that's what's fascinating about, like, we're following this house that has like a similar kind of love that we had for the Starks, but the difference is these guys actually are in control of everything. Everybody's secondary to them, versus the Starks, who are like, we're tough, but like we've been taught to fight for good, and that ends up getting us killed. You
Well,
know,
yeah, and the Starks are perfectly content to sit in Winterfell and, you know, keep the peace,
right,
carry
right.
on the family name,
Don't get involved in
do right by
politics.
their
Right,
bannermen,
right.
protect
Yeah,
the North. They're perfectly content to do that. The Targaryens have a legitimate divine belief
right.
that they should rule Westeros.
Right, right. And they
I
are,
mean,
and
that
no
comes
one
from
questions that power. Like, no one's trying to kill the king. No one's trying to. They're trying to get
the minute they
him.
do that, they're just gonna get smoked.
They're
Like
just gonna get
the
smoked.
house are gonna blur or burn your castle down if they're five.
Your castle is done, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Harrenhal, check that shit out. That's what your house will
It's
be.
the generation. Yeah, I mean that's why they didn't tear it down and build a new one.
Yeah,
It serves as a living example of you think you're safe in your castle. Well, the greatest castle on the continent got
right.
completely smoked
That's
by
Right.
dragons.
I love that dynamic that you're talking about, Chris. That it's sort of like these guys, they're just all sort of different with each other. They don't insult each other. They all talk to each other differently, and that's what the show is doing really well. And I'm really enjoying it, actually.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm surprised at how good I feel about this show already. Just 3 episodes in, and it feels like the best of Game of Thrones already for me.
yeah, it's like really good. Like, season, I feel like season two, they started to get more money, and they like started to figure out what they were doing. Season two of Game of Thrones is like amazing. Like, it's
Season
like
2 and season 3 is when they really kind of
season
found their feet.
two, right? They
Yeah.
had way more budget. They were way popular. Season two and season three were like like really good television.
They're- They've learned from those good seasons.
Yeah.
With art storytellers. The dragons are just icing on the cake.
Yeah, yeah,
If you tell a good story and you have compelling characters, good or bad, if they're compelling, people will watch and people will be interested in decisions that they make and motivations for why they're doing what they do. And that's the first three. This episode was phenomenal for all of that.
Yeah.
Show don't tell, right? And so the scenes in the King's Wood are phenomenal because of all the symbolism and all of the politics and the exhaustion by the king, and all of that is subtext for all of this tension involving power. And
mm,
that's
Yeah.
what it is. It's all sort of pieces associated with power and who has it, who can get it, who can keep it, and who's losing it. And the fatal flaw of Viserys is that he equates inaction with peace. He wants peace.
Yep.
And he sees it as, okay, well, if I don't do anything or don't make a decision, that'll maintain the status quo. And that is a fatal decision making. He's tricked himself into thinking that inaction everything will blow over or it'll resolve itself in some way. And ultimately, when he makes a good decision, it's too late.
Yeah.
And so what is going to happen, as is predicted by this world and is I think in history, is that if he really does stick to Rhaenyra as the heir, the and as we sort of alluded to, it doesn't lead to peace. And so that is everyone who's around him understands that sort of inaction leads to chaos, or decisions that he may not like, that nobody may like, are going to translate to, because human beings are greedy for power, and preserving power. And that's where we're headed, because his inability to make those decisions that are in the sort of utilitarian. He's not thinking he's not thinking in terms of a utilitarian approach. He's thinking in terms of what's in the out of love, and that it's a fascinating commentary on leadership and power. Because if you make decisions based upon self-interest and things like love, there will always be people who will take advantage of you.
Yep.
Yeah. I noticed there wasn't any mention in this episode. This is the first mention that the king isn't like injured in some way. Like the first episode, he had that thing on his back, and then the other one, he had like that cut on his finger that was like rotting. And it's like, did he still have his finger? Like, we didn't really get an answer to that. Like,
I didn't notice, but yeah,
Right.
you're right. I made note of the fact that they didn't. This was an episode where they didn't highlight an ongoing. Just
Right.
his. I mean, just the fact that he got drunk and he was hungover. But
right.
you know,
Uh,
that's just
Definitely
another
not-
way to
he's
highlight
definitely
his.
not moving well because they put stairs next to his horse.
Yeah, he's.
oh,
and,
sure.
and he could not. He's weak. He could not
is.
kill that stag with one stab of that spear.
Yeah, that's an interest. There's an interesting dynamic there that you're talking about, Christopher. Is like he is not able to kill the stag with one spear, but we see Daemon, who's like charging down 20 dudes and taking 3 arrows and still killing the bad guy. So
And
it's like
just juxtaposed with Rhaenyra
right.
and surviving the boar attack.
Yes, she's willing to kill if pushed. You know,
And
it's like
letting the white stag, the white hart, live.
yes. Fascinating. Like and like, is there a lot of lore? I don't remember white stag stuff from Game of Thrones. Is there any lore that you remember, Andrew, from the books about the white stag stuff, or is that just mentioned briefly?
I mean, it's not. I mean, the stag is the symbol of House Baratheon, so it's the largest, I guess, indigenous horned animal on the continent. So it's got this regal kind of bearing on it. But that's just. I mean, in medieval history in general, a white stag happened with such rarity, and they're generally the most kind of regal of prey animals, throughout kind of medieval history in general. But there isn't anything specific that comes up in terms of like it's a symbol of House Baratheon is the crowned stag.
Right.
The white stag in particular is mystical, and
Yeah. The white hart, yeah.
there's lots of mysticism around it and good tidings. And,
There's a big part of the show Shadow and Bone. If you guys watch that on Netflix, there's a big white hart magical white heart in that show too. So
It's kind of the. I suppose the stag and the white hart is associated with kind of like the spirit of the forest too. In a lot of ways, they can embody kind of a perfect state of nature in a lot of different mythology.
like I don't know enough about like stags, but is it or like hearts, but is that like an albino or is it like is it?
It's like a white buffalo. It's like one of those extremely rare kind of genetic mutations.
But it's like a variation of the one that he kills, right? It's not it's not like a snow heart that is like wandered south or something. Okay.
Nope.
It's a genetic aberration.
Aberration, but because like they're medieval people, they see a white.
Well, these are superstitious people, and
yes.
To go back to what Chris said at the very beginning regarding we were talking about, Viserys's dream and the prophecy that he thinks he has about having a son who will, inherit and be important. The Targaryens have a history of prophetic dreaming. Like they left old Syria because of Targaryen had dreams that the doom was coming, so they sailed away. And Aegon had his dragon dream, where his prophecy of a song of ice and fire. So Viserys believes in the prophetic power of dreams.
I think what's interesting is that like he had this prophetic dream, but like if you don't have the context to understand the dream, then you sort of like misinterpret stuff. Like the Targaryen that brings everybody.
History.
What's that?
I said, "Welcome to human history, dude."
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like the Targaryen that brings everybody together is Jon Snow, not Daenerys. But people don't know that he's a Targaryen. He's an unknown Targaryen, but like. He brings everybody together to fight the White Walkers. It's
prophecy they would not have defeated the White Walkers without Daenerys.
Yeah,
but dragons.
Right. True.
She brought her army. They would not have defeated the White. They would not have survived the Long Night if Daenerys had not. Well, I mean, Jon Snow bent the knee to her. She was queen of the Seven Kingdoms in his mind.
I know, but he's the one.
He was the princess.
The conversation that Viserys has with Rhaenyra in the first episode says you have to unite the houses, otherwise we're not gonna be able to survive together. That's part of the prophecy is keeping everybody together, and Jon Snow is the one who gets everybody to give up. Like all your infighting is bullshit.
And then Daenerys, he bends the knee to Daenerys because he sees that she is the Dragon Queen.
He has to keep everybody together.
Yeah, because it's a smart move.
Yeah, it's a smart move. But he's the one who pushes. He's seen beyond the wall. Now I want to watch. Now I want to watch 1 through 5. Okay. Anyways.
They would not have won the war without Daenerys and her dragons, bud, and her Dothraki and her Unsullied.
I mean, the White Walkers wouldn't have gotten through the wall without her being a dumbass. They would have
save Jon.
They would have just been on the other side of the wall.
They went north
forever.
of the wall to save Jon.
So, yeah, season 6 since what is it, 7 and 8? 7 and 8.
Her personal choice to save Jon's life led to all that. Again, it's these people making these very intimate personal choices that have huge power ramifications.
100%. I had one more thing that so I love a good bard whenever I see one in a show like this because I feel like he was just sitting by the Godswood like playing a little song. I wish I could remember the lyrics. There's something about a dragon's eye or something like that.
Beneath the dragon's eye, she sailed with her people on their ships or whatever.
Nymeria.
He's singing about Nymeria.
Well, warrior woman.
Nice.
Warrior queen.
That is symbolism.
Yep.
Like in your face symbolism.
And she keeps telling him to sing it over and over again. There's interesting dynamic between like now Alicent outranks her. She's the queen. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I love a good like court bard, court jester in shows like this because like they're just there to play music and like they're just caught up in all this bullshit. I love
Yep.
I love the bard from The Witcher, you know. So, anyways,
I love the memes and the jokes associated with Rhaenyra being like in a lonely, isolated, sad place and having this musician can play her favorite song over and over and over. It's just like every teenage girl through
yes,
history
yes.
playing in their room, like reading a book and like hitting repeat on their player because they're
Very
sad. They want to
yeah.
listen to sad music.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
was thinking about like all the servants who had to like carry all that shit out and then clean it up after she's done. Or did they leave it out there? There's no way they leave it out there. It'd be covered in water. It'd be like
Yeah, her 9 pillows and like her
yes,
4
they have to
blankets
carry that shit out and clean it up every night. And I feel for those servants who had to do that we
Yeah,
did.
they got a job. They're getting
got-
3
they got a
meals
job.
a day and a place to sleep.
Yeah. They get to sleep in the castle, the Red Keep,
Yeah.
and you know, yeah,
Tent.
yeah. I think that's all my notes. Do you guys have anything else to say?
Nope. Daemon returns to King's Landing next week.
I
is
saw
what the
that. I saw
that's-
that.
Things could heat up next week. So
I just
want to
say, Sir Christian Cole in the episode again. He's still there. I'm watching you, motherfucker. I'm watching. Like I know something's coming. I'm watching. So, anyways, Andrew's gonna do trivia at the end of all these, so send him emails about House of the Dragon trivia, Hot D trivia, kingandlord52@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, brothers_geek at twitter.com, brothersgeek.com, brothersgeek podcast at gmail.com.
Brothers Geek Do Stuff on Instagram.
Brothers Geek Do Stuff. You guys did some stuff this weekend. You both went to 2 different cons. Do you want to briefly share your experiences at these cons?
How was Tucson Comic Con, Chris?
It was great. Lots of people, enthusiastic people, lots of cool booths. As always, there's I love our people, so I felt right at home. Had a great conversation with the one booth where people made custom-made dice towers.
Dope.
Local Tucson.
What's the material?
Wood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They make them out of all kinds of stuff. Do you know what a dice tower is, Andrew?
I have no concept what a dice tower is.
It's cool. Here, I'll show you my dice tower. I have it right here.
A thing that you put your dice into to ensure randomization of your roll.
Ah. And it's called a tower.
Dice tower, yeah.
Here, I'll show you.
Cool.
So it's a nice piece of they're the ones that they had on display were super cool. So
Okay.
I will keep talking.
and Artist Alley was Kira, loves Artist Alley. Lots of cool stuff in Artist Alley, and
When is Kira going to have a booth at a con? When are we going to
We
spend the money
actually-
on that?
we talked about that. We had a conversation about if she would be interested in having a booth, and so that's something that she absolutely could do. Yeah, that's a dice tower.
This one Hannah got me for my birthday, and
You put the dice in the top.
There
and
it
then
is.
and there
Just
it is.
what it's. Now that I see it, it's totally obvious what it is.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
folds up, and
It's like a hard cardboard. Or
yeah,
is it plastic?
it's like a laser cut,
Okay.
like particle board. It's pretty
Okay.
pretty thick. It's pretty nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
Did they have ones that were larger than that, Christopher, or similar size, or?
the ones that are on display were 3 times that size.
whoa!
wow.
I mean,
What was
people
the what was
people
the
love
price
it.
point?
It's like they show up with they put it on the table and they like it.
Yep.
People love dice towers, dude. Yeah.
What was
Yep.
the price point you were looking at? I mean, like I'm sure that they have like $10 ones and $150 ones.
Mm, No, they had no $10 ones. They had 50. It was between 50 and $100.
Yeah, custom made like
Yeah.
that. And
Nice.
big like that. I bet they're not cheap.
And they
Yeah.
had wooden Dungeon Master screens too.
Cool. Oh, dude, that's like the step up. I just have the cardboard, but I like it. But like the step up is like you get a wood, like a
Wood.
nice wood
Nice.
Dungeon Master. Whew,
They had engines. It folded up.
yeah, that's pretty sweet stuff.
Lots of great artists, and
That's cool.
yeah, we had
d-
a good time. A lot of
ki-
people. It's weird, and Holy Grail search was a success, so
nice,
that was
nice.
super super cool. And
Always fun to search for the Holy Grail.
a lot of people, and that
Yeah.
that was it's
It's
going to take some time to get back into the swing of being around so many people.
that's how I felt when Hannah and I went to the San Diego or sorry the LA Comic Con.
Yeah.
It was like whoa, this is a lot of people like
Yeah.
in close quarters. This feels weird.
We
Yeah.
were
Still a little
definitely
jarring.
in the 2% that were wearing masks. So,
Right, yeah. Like
Oh.
yeah. I definitely still wear a mask to these things. But anyways, go ahead.
The event that I went to, Saboten Con, which is an anime-focused con, there was a mask requirement. The hotel didn't enforce it. The conventioneers
no kidding.
enforced a mask
Wow.
requirement. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they said wear your mask. It was if you're inside the convention hall space, everybody was wearing a mask, which was
Wow.
great. You
That is
step away and you're like in a smaller group off the main floor. People take it off and things like that. But so they had that. I don't know what Saboten refers to. I am not an anime person. Ashton has more of an exposure to that than I do. She's watched some animes. But we were joking about we go to a Comic Con and we go to Phoenix Comic Con and we recognize 90% of the people in costume. Like we can look around and be like, oh, we know this person, know that, we know this, but we can identify the characters people are cosplaying as. We knew 2% of the cosplays that we saw.
Right.
Like Full Metal Alchemist, our friend of the podcast, Betsy, Gin and Tonics on Instagram, JYN, JYN Gin and Tonics competed in the Saboten Masquerade. It's her first time competing ever. She made an original Sailor Moon Knight costume.
She's starting to go a little more cosplay. She's yeah.
She won her group. She won best in novice. There was like 20 other novices, and she won her group. She's been working...
Okay. Unbiased opinion here, Andrew. Did she deserve to win?
Yes.
Like
She was by far the best novice.
by far the best novice.
Yeah. There was a couple of the novices that were good. Some of the novices were very kind of basic.
Is she into like anime, or is she just cosplaying for cosplay's sake?
I think she watches. She found a character she wanted to make. She put the pieces together. She is a Marvel fan. She's a Marvel stan, big time.
Yeah.
She does have some anime. She loves.
I saw her Eddie from Stranger Things outfit from the day one. I think
She is very much consumes many aspects of pop culture, and she definitely is an anime person. But yeah, the con was. It feels like every other convention that you go to, the mass of people, the tons of stuff to see, the wonderful art. But the fact that it's so anime focused, and I have like 1% knowledge of that world, so I honestly don't get a ton out of it when I go. The scene is always kind of fun, but I mean, the big moment.
Did it feel like a
weekend.
Convention? Like it felt like
Yeah.
just anime booths everywhere.
Complete, just weebs everywhere, dude. Just like just giggling teenagers and
really awkward boys,
really,
like super awkward teenage boys.
Yeah, I have the prejudicial attitude that the
That
kids
that
who
was
are in
me in high school, so I'm not narking on those guys. Yeah.
tend to be the most awkward, I think, at cons.
Yeah.
So an entire con of that kind of like awkward energy can be a lot, because you'll observe whole groups of people that are kind of running around doing kind of their own silly in character things, and these people may have never met each other before, but because they
Did you see
identify the
anybody
character,
running like this? Like
no, there was no Naruto runners or whatever.
no Naruto runners.
I would have known a Naruto. I don't think I saw one
you
Naruto.
know, not well. They wear those bands that have the silver thing. You didn't see any of those.
I don't think I saw any Naruto.
Maybe Naruto's dead, man. That was like probably 15 years ago.
Very little Dragon Ball Z. There was a lot of characters.
Dragon Ball Z is pretty old too.
Yeah, there's a lot of anime out there that's getting consumed that I've never heard of. Like there was 30 or 40 cosplayers, and I think I was able to identify, like in the competition, I think I was able to identify 2 characters, and Betsy was one of them.
Well, and she was like a mashup too. She's a Sailor Moon Knight, so it's like, fascinating. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And congrats to her. She did a great job.
We'll have to, we'll have to link to her Instagram so people can follow her too in the show notes too. But thanks for sharing. Saboten means cactus in Japanese, by the way. I don't know if that
impresses me even more now. It's like Cactus Con.
Cactus Con because it's fine. I lost where I was. So Instagram, Brothers Geek do stuff. There's pictures of the con, what they went to. BrothersGeek.com. Follow us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. Brothers Geek Schmaltz on YouTube. Videos on there now. That's about it, I guess. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week for episode 4.
Fire and Blood.
Fire.